Century Next Bank is proud to sponsor Digital Weather Desk with local meteorologist Jared Floyd.
The Digital Weather Desk is your local source for the latest weather information to help keep you and your family safe and to plan your week. You can follow us on our social media platforms, download our app, and you can also find us at digitalweatherdesk.com. The Digital Weather Desk,
Powered by Century Next Bank.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining in to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. If you are joining in and you're going, oh man, I didn't get a push alert for this live stream. I didn't send one out. This is a marathon, not a sprint. We got a long way to go between now and Friday and Saturday, and you're going to hear from me a lot. You're going to get sick of hearing my voice. I'm already sick of hearing my voice. I've been around it for 40 years. But I don't want to sit here and just spam you with push alerts every time we go live from here to Saturday or Sunday. That's a little excessive. I will send you out a push alert tonight before our 9 o'clock live Q&A. Basically, similar to what we do here, but a little bit more informal, drawn out. We can answer questions, and I can pull graphics up to help answer some of the questions, but not necessarily a set graphics sequence, and just kind of give us an opportunity to deep dive into things. I-20 moving a little sluggish at times, but it is drive time, so again, be patient with our other local motorists. A check of the headlines for this weekend. A winter storm watch is now in effect for a good chunk of the ArkLaMiss. I do expect the rest of the region to follow suit, probably in the next 12 hours or so. An Arctic cold front is expected to bring along with that, overrunning moisture is expected to bring accumulating ice and sleet to the region, possibility of some snowfall as well, and perhaps the coldest air we will see this season. All of that we'll talk about more in just a minute. Check of the infrared satellite, again, just a few high clouds, and we do expect the clouds to be on the increase as we head through the rest of the evening, setting the stage for the rain chances that will set up shop as we go into the day tomorrow, and expect showers across much of the region. Your radar made possible by Brown's Roofing. Schedule your free roof inspection, brownsroofingla.com, by the way. brownsroofingla.com. By the way, today's forecast made possible by the United Way of Northeast Louisiana, the United Way's 211 initiative. If you or someone you know needs a safe place tonight, dial 211 for real-time shelter locations. Again, a great number to have saved during weather conditions that are about to unfold. Nothing doing on the radar, but I do expect showers to increase even through the overnight hours tonight. I know the rain chances are still kind of lackluster, but expect some shower activity and the low-level moisture to be on the increase during that stretch. Your city-by-city forecast at the bottom of the screen, and most of us are expecting showers and kind of a cool, gross day tomorrow. Temperatures across the region currently are in the low to mid-50s, upper 50s for some, upper 40s for others, and winds are generally light out of the southeast. Check a futurecast as we go through the next 24 hours or so. Again, cloud cover will be on the increase tonight, already on the increase for most locations. Sets the stage for the showers to take over as we head through the daytime hours on Wednesday. Most of us will wake up to some form of rainfall, most of it fairly light in response to an upper level disturbance and a cold front moving through the region. Expect the showers to continue through much of the day, capped perhaps even by a rumble of thunder as a cold front moves through the region during the evening hours. That will bring the beginnings of the cool down that sets the stage for even colder air to arrive for the end of the weekend through the upcoming weekend. But again, could scour out an isolated storm or two late Wednesday evening. Showers likely to fester through the day on Thursday, at least in the southern parishes and counties. We don't get completely out of the cloud cover and the rainfall before we set up for the winter weather episode as we go into the day on Friday. So that's where I'm going to end this particular computer model for now. We'll come back to it in just a minute. Look at potential rain totals over the next 24 to 36 hours. Most of us generally in the ½ to 3/4 of an inch range, generally speaking. So, again, beneficial rainfall to a drought-stricken region. I wouldn't be surprised if we do get an isolated thunderstorm, maybe to see some areas get up to about an inch of rainfall. Again, this is just through Wednesday into Thursday. Does not include anything that we would deal with this weekend. Again, for those that are joining in the live stream going, I didn't get a push alert, I didn't send one. I'll send one tonight for our live Q&A. It starts at 9 o'clock. I'll talk about that more in just a minute. So now let's go into what everybody's talking about. The winter storm watch, the winter storm that's expected to unfold this weekend. Note temperatures. We peak in the mid to upper 50s Thursday afternoon. Again, some spotty showers are possible then as well. By Thursday night at 11:30 midnight, temperatures where they are, upper 40s to near 50, mid 50s in the southern parishes and counties. That's about as warm as we're going to be, because then they start to fall. Starts with some rain through the morning hours on Friday. Depending on how dry the air is, which it's not expected to be incredibly dry, there may be a window of opportunity for a little bit of evaporative cooling to bring temperatures from the upper 30s to the mid 30s, maybe the low 30s across southern Arkansas. The changeover to frozen precipitation will be gradual from north to south through the day on Friday. The big question is, when will it start? When will that changeover start in southern Arkansas? It could start as early as sunrise. I think it's more likely probably closer to lunchtime. But we'll know that more over the next couple of days. So the changeover starts. In northern Louisiana, the precip, and into western Mississippi, the folks in western Mississippi, it's going to be a lot of liquid rainfall for at least a while at the onset. Excuse me. And then as we go into the northern portions of Louisiana, I do expect generally to see some fairly light precipitation through the day on Friday. But again, the gradual shift from rain to freezing rain, and then eventually probably freezing rain and sleet. Again, precip's fairly light through much of the day Friday. We go into Friday evening, and that fire hose of moisture continues to become more widespread, so temperatures fall. Most of us eventually drop below freezing by early Saturday morning, and then we start ramping up the waves of heavier precipitation. In most of the area, according to the forecast soundings that I'm looking at right now, most of us are looking, especially with temperatures in the low to mid-20s, at sleet. There's going to be a lot of warm air aloft. That warm air is going to melt any snowflakes, but the cold air near the surface is very cold. So those water droplets that have melted will likely refreeze as sleet pellets. There will be some areas farther southward that are in the upper 20s to near 30 where it's going to be more freezing rain with some sleet mixed in. Farther northward into southern Arkansas, I think there's a good chance for sleet-snow mix. And that's where things get really, really complicated in terms of accumulations. Because, again, more snow means less sleet, means less ice. But more ice means less sleet, means less snow. And they all mean wildly different totals and mean wildly different things in terms of impacts. So, again, that's where that computer model ends. And I know you're going, man, why can't it go? Well, it's a high-resolution model. It only goes out so far. So now let's take the lower-resolution model, go a little bit farther. So that ended at 6 a.m. Saturday. Let's resume. 6 a.m. Saturday across the region. Try not to pay too much attention to the temperatures because they are pretty wild. I mean, again, it gets us into the mid-teens by midday on Saturday. That's very, very difficult to believe. I'm not going to say it's impossible. It's just really, really hard to believe. So we put Futurecast farther and farther into motion, and the overrunning moisture just continues through the day Saturday into Sunday. And this has been a trend that we've been picking up on with the latest data. It's not just Saturday precipitation. It's not just late Friday, Saturday precipitation. Now it's late Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some model data is even going maybe Monday. So again, that further complicates totals and types and all that stuff, especially because if precip were to linger later in the day Sunday, the later it lingers into Sunday, the more of it will likely change over to snow. Here's why. Because again, that ending moisture, that lingering leftover moisture that's overrunning this cold air mass, that colder air mass is getting deeper and colder, deeper and colder. Eventually, the entire column of air drops below freezing, and we can support snow all the way down to the surface. But that's going to take probably until the latter part of Sunday or maybe early Monday for that to happen for much of the region because the air is just so warm aloft. And for some areas, that warm air aloft, that warm nose aloft just doesn't go away. So again, the Barron 15K has precip lingering through late in the day on Sunday. Here's a look at the GFS model. The American GFS, before we start this model real quick, let me see which run we're looking at because we just had the 18Z come in. So the 18Z looks a little different. Full disclosure, the 18Z ends precipitation sooner than what you're going to see here. But again, we pick it up at 6 a.m. I showed this midday. Again, precip moderate to even heavy at times through much of the day on Saturday. Most of the GFS advertises this as sleet. It continues across the region through the day on Saturday into perhaps early Sunday, with precipitation starting to wrap up from north to south through the day on Monday. So again, you can kind of see where there's a yikes, because that is a lot of precipitation stretched out over an extended period of time. And for some reason, my comments, I can't see the comments in the stream, so I had to pull everything up on my phone. Sorry. So Kathy and Ethel and Patsy and Lisa and Janice and everybody that's hopping in on the comments, good evening, and sorry for not acknowledging you sooner. So again, you can see how the GFS lingers precip through the early part of the day on Monday, and in some instances it even keeps it into Monday night. The latest run, this early afternoon's run, actually ends a lot of that precip closer to Sunday night, Monday morning. Still an extended period of time, but not quite as prolonged, if you will. Janet, good evening to you. So here's a look at Futurecast. I've been showing this a lot. Total precipitable water, the amount of moisture in the column of air above us. A good survey of how much moisture is above us completely in all levels of the atmosphere. A look at mid-level winds, and this white line is the freezing line at the surface. We're already starting with the increase in cloud cover and the stuff that we're seeing. This is the beginnings of tomorrow's storm system that will bring us a cold front and rain chances. You can see the dip in the jet stream. We call this a short wave, but it's just, again, a disturbance in the mid-levels. Whoops. Ah, come on, Jared. I'm going to fix this. Okay. All right. This is close enough. This is what happens when you get too arrogant with your little telestrations. But again, obviously see how the rain sets up through the day on Wednesday with this disturbance aloft. Either way, put that into motion. And as I've been mentioning for the last couple of days, our biggest feature is this upper low off to the south and west, off the Baja California coastline, serving as a conveyor belt of moisture. Overrunning moisture is what I've been talking about so much over the last few days. As that surface freezing line drops into our area, temperatures at the surface drop to or even below freezing by mid to late day Friday, and we start overrunning moisture atop a frozen surface, which brings us the potential for frozen precipitation. You dig deeper into the day on Saturday, and again, if you didn't join us midday, the one noticeable thing that we've really seen in terms of a marked change is instead of this upper level low staying cut off, and eventually the cold polar air, that cold Arctic air, eventually cutting off the moisture source, the latest model trends have been more so towards keeping this as an open upper level disturbance, phasing it into the upper level pattern as it moves eastward, and the fire hose of moisture never really gets turned off through the day Saturday, Sunday, perhaps even into Monday. So again, this is midday Saturday. We go through the rest of Saturday. This is midday Sunday. And again, we still have just an open, uninterrupted source of moisture continuing to just funnel through the region. By Monday, you start to see this slack off. And again, this is where there's a little bit of a difference because, again, the 18Z model of the GFS is not quite as aggressive with keeping the moisture in through Monday, but it still has the same general idea. And then this all phases off to the east. And again, the other problem with that is if we don't have that cutoff moisture source hanging out here to the southwest to eventually move east early next week, there runs a problem of what's going to get rid of the cold air. And so we run into an early part of next week where it may be a very, very slow, methodical thaw across the region. I did fix this graphic. Thank you to all the folks that said, hey, that says air temperature below freezing twice. You're right, because I wrote this and I messed it up. I corrected the graphic to make it the right font, and then I didn't have it right, so I fixed it. Thank you so much for sending those in. Again, we know the different precip types. Most of us do. May asked just a minute ago, will sleet be better than freezing rain? Ideally, yes. Neither one of them is fun to travel in. Freezing rain's almost impossible to travel in. Freezing rain also accumulates on bridges and power lines and tree branches and all that type of stuff more readily than sleet. The last thing you want is freezing rain, then snow, because now you've coated all these elevated things with ice, and now you're going to bring heavy, wet snowflakes that are going to glob on top of that. That's where we create a really, really less than ideal scenario. So again, these are the types of precipitation. Here's a look at the forecast. This is how I have the general thought process of the types of precipitation we're going to see and how this would unfold. This is extremely preliminary. I cannot stress enough how much this is probably going to change off and on between now and Friday and Saturday. But the first folks that are likely going to see the changeover are across southern Arkansas, especially along and north of Highway 278, from Camden to Monticello northward. You folks are going to probably see the first changeover, and then folks down to Highway 82 are going to be next, then to the state line, then to I-20, and so on and so forth, from north to south across the region. But the first folks that are going to change over, they're going to change over from rain to freezing rain. Then from freezing rain to sleet, probably stay sleet for a while, and then probably change over to sleet snow. That's how I have it in my mind right now, and from the data that I've seen, and from just how these types of events evolve, that's my general thought process. The lavender covered area, from the state line to I-20 and then southward, a good chunk of the central sections of our coverage area. You folks would be the next to change over from rain to freezing rain, and then eventually to freezing rain and sleet, potentially to all sleet. And for a prolonged period of time, could be looking at sleet. Could see a change over to snow on the back end, just depends on how long the precipitation wants to hang around. Last folks to change over will be the southern parishes and counties along Highway 84, somewhere in there in that area. And I do expect you guys to change over to frozen precipitation. And it'll be from, again, rain to freezing rain and sleet. So here's the winter storm watch that's been issued. For folks in the eastern counties and parishes, and you're wondering, well, what about us? Or can we expect a winter storm watch? Yes. So here's how these things work. They're issued by expected onset. So obviously, folks in the west and the north are expecting the earliest onset of wintry precipitation. And then that will continue to progress eastward and southward as we go deeper into the weekend. So I would expect for a lot of our counties and parishes along the Mississippi Valley to either see the winter storm watch issued late tonight or early tomorrow morning. But I do expect you to see them. I expect the entire area to be under a winter storm watch. And then I do expect the entire area to be under some type of warning, not winter weather advisories. If the forecast holds the way it sits right now, we will all either be under a winter storm warning or an ice storm warning, just depending on location. Sonia asks, is there a good chance that we lose power? I think that power outages are a very real possibility. And again, for folks, again, I'm planning on doing a Q&A tonight, so you can ask questions. We can discuss those types of things kind of at length. That'll be at 9 o'clock. So set an alarm, join us. I just think that'd be a good time to kind of sit and discuss this. Lows tonight, low 40s. Winds will stay light out of the southeast. Highs tomorrow, upper 50s. Showers likely through much of the day. Maybe a rumble of thunder, but again, it'll be a rainy day. Winds will be out of the south-southeast. 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware. 3B Hardware and Bayou Power Sports. Heads up, both of those places have portable generators in stock. So again, not trying to push you toward that investment, but if it's something that your family's been thinking about investing, this would be a good time. So go see Mike and the guys at Bayou Power Sports, or Matt and the guys at 3B Hardware. 7-day forecast. We've highlighted Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in red. I don't take that lightly. Basically, that's my way of saying that the weather, you need to pay attention to the weather. I don't have any fancy term of, it's the weather action alert day. It's just pay attention. Just these are days that could be impactful to you. Pay attention to the weather. So those are set up for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Again, the winter storm watch is in place. Expect temperatures to fall from near 50 Friday at midnight. We will start temperatures falling Thursday night. They don't stop falling until Saturday morning. It is going to be a very, very cold weekend across the area. We will likely spend extended periods of time below freezing. So that's where the forecast sits for the time being. Yeah, so Taylor, let's go back to the 7-day real quick. 9 o'clock for the Q&A. I just had the graphic, and then you spent all that time typing that in, and then I had that graphic. So Thursday's low temperature. Yeah, we're going to trend a little bit warmer. I had Thursday's low temperature. Are you talking Thursday's low or Tuesday's low? Because I had Thursday's low at 47. It's up to 50 now. We're just going to trend a little bit warmer during that stretch. Either way, yes, it's an impactful and kind of wild forecast. So here's a look at the upcoming content. Q&A tonight at 9. Bring your questions. We'll try to answer as many as possible. We're not gonna do a lot of the hey, what about this town? What about that town? Because we could be here literally all night talking about every town in the ArkLaMiss. But if you have questions, we'll try to get to as many as possible. And if those are the questions that we have, we will try to get to them. Sorry, my son just walked in. Next live forecast update is tomorrow morning. Fishing games out at 8 p.m. tonight. Tea time forecast tomorrow at 6 a.m. So there's a lot of stuff coming out. Lots of content. Lots of information being thrown your way over the next several days. Again, the Q&As tonight at 9. I will send a push alert out on the app probably about 5 minutes before, just as a reminder. It will be on our live platforms, which are the ones that I'm on right now. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. Forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the app. Make sure that you also have your chunky snow hats ready to go. Maybe we get some. You can buy your chunky snow hat at digitalweatherdesk.com too. Thanks so much for stopping by. As always, thanks for making this part of your day. Thanks for downloading the app, Lacey. And for everybody else, make sure you have that app downloaded. If you're looking for the app links, hey, where do I go? Just go to digitalweatherdesk.com. The app links are right there, right in front of your face. And you can download them then. See you tonight for the Q&A, folks. 9 o'clock. I'll send you a push alert. Don't forget about it. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital